Okay, we are live. Give me a second. I want to share this out to a few of my pages here, and we shall begin this little debate. I hope everyone's been doing well. It's been a pretty crazy time here for us. Getting ready to shoot The Lost Scene 5 Retribution. And yeah, just something I've been milling over for a while. This whole debate, as you can see, reading the descriptions and everything else. Just about to send it out. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah. So begin this little debate here in a couple minutes and see if some more people show up. But this has been a pretty good time. Worked on a few things recently. Have a little disc case cover here. But let's see. Get this going. Post that. Waiting for the chat. Hey, what's up, Best Fisher 1993? Before we get into the debate, just showing this off, made a little DVD case cover for, let's see if I can see it here. It's the Lost Scene 2, little DVD case now. I'm starting to make DVD cases of all my movies, and I'm putting all these movies together in their own cases, so I got the first two are going in this one, then of course 3 and 4, and Chess will go in another one, and then 5 and 6 will go in another one. Just something I've been working on. I've been getting a few of my other films. I did my Bond films that way as well. The lighting's a little bad here. I'm trying to adjust. Let me see if I can adjust this lighting a bit so it's not so harsh. Give me a second. We'll just adjust here. Maybe a bit darker, but at least it's not so glary. Okay, that's actually better. I'm surprised. Okay, yeah, but as I was showing, yeah, see if you can see it better now without that glare. Pretty fun to put these together. That way I can have them on my shelf, on my different films. I've been working on a lot of the Phase 1 films, starting to put them on disc. Actually, putting them on disc is going to take a little bit, but I thought it was pretty cool to start working on these, get these out. But for myself, now it's time, really for the bit of a debate here I have with The Lost Scene. Something my brother brought up for the first, a few years ago, and I've been thinking about it over the last few years, is really the Lost Scene series. It's not really what it was when it started. When it started, it was The Lost Scene. It was literally, basically, it was a couple scenes technically, but it really was just this little tiny segment of the ending of an action movie. We didn't know what happened at the beginning. We didn't know what the situation was. We just were following along. Oh, guy has to get from point A to point B. Apparently was betrayed by someone they thought was dead. He wasn't dead. In fact, my original idea for the film, just in here, was that Eric Thompson faking his death, as back then it was Thompson. Thompson faking his death was supposed to have happened during the movie. It wasn't until I made the third one that I decided to have his death happen during that film, and it's supposed to have been a little bit of time in between when they last saw him and see him again. But my original idea was that it happened during the movie, that he faked his death. So it shows just how much um, things change when I was making these films. The second movie, same concept. Decided to just go with a different tone. Go with the darker, grittier '80s instead of just the plain simple like commando action stuff. It's really when you get to the third one, and I'm like, it's not really the concept anymore. It's evolved past that, and that was the real time. I remember that was the first time my brother brought up. He was like, "Is it really the lost scene anymore?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because it's like a full-on like 30-minute movie." I mean, yeah, you could. I mean, my argument at that time was, yeah, it's still part of a lost film. You're not seeing the whole film. You're not seeing the whole franchise completely unfold. So I just kept it the same way. But lately, I have been thinking because I've got ideas of what happens in those films. I've thought about even writing maybe short stories that would kind of explain the whole story. And a lot of it has been built around now the later films, especially Lost Scene 4 choices, and the entire LCU, the Legend Cinematic Universe. Um, a lot of the backstory of the first movie has to do with stuff from other films, especially the Philip Creek series. Um, so I've had a bit of a talking and discussing, and if you look on the community tab on my channel, I just posted up a couple of polls. One suggesting different titles for the Lost Scene. What would it actually be called? Let me pull up that tab here real quick. What I have, I gave four options plus a fifth other. Write in the comments a suggestion. Call to action, which I'll admit is my personal favorite of the potential titles. I like kind of Call to Action 2, Call to Action 3, Covert Operations, Call to Action 4, Choices, and then so on and so forth. And then there's Fatal Prejudice. It's probably my second favorite choice. It has very much a cheesy '80s sound to it, but still is a title. Um, and then there's A Matter of Honor. I was just like, I'm just gonna spit that one out. And then my friend Jake Riley suggested The Hero. So it'd be The Hero Returns, then The Hero 3 Covert Operations, The Hero 4 Choices, which I'm not totally sold on, especially considering the fact that the series goes from Niven to Deacons back to Niven again. So I don't think that one quite works, but I was willing to go ahead and write it in. And then, of course, there's another option. And then the other question I posted up is the Lost Scene films are no longer just Lost Scenes. Should I change the titles? Should the title change? Should I maybe even re-release the films with new titles? I'm not sure if I go that far, but I'm wondering about going with The Lost Scene 5 Retribution, just changing it to the new title. And I would write The Lost Scene in uh sorry, my cat is going crazy right now and running around. I don't know what's her deal. So sorry about that. A little distraction there. But basically the Lost Scene 5, instead of calling it the Lost Scene 5, it'd be called, whatever. It would be like Call to Action 5 Retribution. Should I change the name? Because I don't know if it's really necessary. But I was like, it's worth putting up a debate, especially considering we're about to start filming 5. I'm hoping to start filming maybe next weekend, or the weekend after that at the latest. Start filming, and yeah. So just the question of what is the what does everyone think about this? Oh, the comments section just suddenly blew up. I wasn't watching because I was looking at the poll options. We got ANH going, hey Tom, hey Jacob. Zachary Ansel, hey y'all, would you believe if I said I was watching since like 2010 when I was 13? No, I mean, a lot of people started watching us back in 2010. The Shadow Revenge really took off the channel. There were a few people um, watching the channel before Shadow Revenge, but then after Shadow Revenge kind of blew up the channel really. And then 2011 when we started making the little scene stuff, there's a lot. Then DEP Films, hello there. Hey, Paulie, what's up? It's Fisher 1993. I dig all of them, but A Matter of Honor, Popping is my favorite. Hey, Paulie, or the title suggestions again, Tom. I didn't catch them before. The ones I've suggested have been like A Matter of Honor, The Hero, Fatal Prejudice, and my personal favorite one, Call to Action. The Lost Scene has become an iconic name for the franchise. That is true. And that is why I was like, you know what? I just wanted to debate it and to see what people had to say because, uh, like I said, my brother was like, is this, I mean, the title doesn't really make much sense anymore. So I was like, and I've milled this over the last few years. So I was like, you know what? Why not just do a short little live stream and just have a little talk about it and just see what people have to say? Um, I wouldn't mind having, even if I don't actually change the titles at all in the series, just to kind of have in the back of my head what these films would be called. I don't know. It's just kind of a nice little thing because I've always been like, what would these films be called if they were actual movies? Because, like I've said, I've come up with ideas of really, especially with one and two, how that whole story plays out. Would be great as subtitles for sequels. Yeah, but I mean, after Redemption, that kind of. I mean, The Lost Scene as a name franchise. I mean, maybe there'll be spin-off stuff, but The Lost Scene 6 is the last Lost Scene movie. That's gonna be it. So now, if it wants spin-offs, use one of those names, possible. But I just or spin-off movies might use those kind of like Chess is now a spin-off movie, so we might just do one without the title and just say a Lost Scene spin-off film. That's always a possibility too. But let me just see here. I'm gonna refresh to see if there's any votes up on these things. Maybe on the change, and it looks like A Matter of Honor and Call to Action are tied with only 2 votes. And oh, my other poll. This is kind of random. I had a poll going. Which version of The Price of Loyalty do you enjoy better? 12 votes, even split. 6 votes for original edition, 6 votes for the special edition. Price of Loyalty, I was not expecting this kind of poll result. I wasn't sure. I figured one of them would be dominating over the other one. Was not expecting a 50-50 split. I mean, that's entirely different matter from this discussion, but I found that kind of funny. I just saw it down there. I'm like, wow, it is literally 50-50 on whether the original edition or the special edition is better or the Price of Loyalty. I wouldn't mind going and remastering it like full on, but to do that, I'd have to get my old hard drive and repair it and send it to be repaired, and that costs a decent amount of money to try to recover those files. If I did that, I might be able to, because I remember suggesting at one point, I think it was in 2018, remastering both Price of Loyalty and Shadow Revenge, but I really need that hard drive because it has certain files that I would need, especially stuff that we filmed on Sean's camera that I wouldn't be able to access the DV tapes for. But that's for another day. Let's go back to the Lost Scene debate. Yeah, so just more on the maybes. Call to Action is now leading. I really like Call to Action. I think that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, DEP films. Personally, I really like Call to Action. I think it sounds good. It rolls off, Call to Action 2, Call to Action 3, Covert Operations, Call to Action 4, Choices, Call to Action 5, Retribution, and Call to Action 6, Redemption. It kind of has that old school sound to it and gives kind of a name for the series. However, I'm not sold on the idea of changing the name because of how much The Lost Scene is kind of become an iconic name. But I might. No, I've kind of debated in my head. I was joking actually with my friend Jake. If I was to make the films, I remember one point. A lot of I've we've had some discussion about who would play the characters, who would play Edward Niven. I know for a while I was saying Gerard Butler. I think he's actually my number two choice now. I think Carl Urban would have been my choice for Edward Niven. As a if I was the if called to action, if that's what it was called, was made into an actual movie. Yeah, I would have Carl Urban as Edward Niven, Hugh Jackman as Eric Thompson, and Sebastian Stan as um uh Timothy Jones. I'm not sure who'd be Grayson or any of those, but um yeah, I would do that if it was an actual movie. If I could just fan cast and just have whoever I want. I remember at one point we were discussing with the legends like who would play all the characters. And we come up with some interesting suggestions like Philip Krieg, William Hemsworth, and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think Carl Urban would be Edward Niven, and I know as silly as it might sound, but honestly, with Deakins, with the way he looks and stuff, I honestly still think John Cena. I know people would laugh at that, but honestly, I think John Cena would be Sean Deakins. Uh, if I was a cast, I would throw that. If not, Cena, I had a suggestion, but now I forgot. I had someone else, like my number two, my backup, but I can't remember now who it was. Oh well. But yeah, I really just don't know. I don't feel like changing the name is necessary. I just wanted to see how everyone else felt about it. Is everyone else cool with the title still being The Lost Scene, even though it isn't technically a lost scene? It's now you're seeing there are probably chunks of the movie we're missing. If the series is ending, I recommend sticking to the name Lost Scenes. It's just a staple of the story to be called that. I kind of agree with that kind of feeling that we're coming down to the end, the last two. And then we can just go from there and make other movies. Um, yeah, future spin-offs and stuff would not be called that. I do have an idea for a trilogy, but I can't really discuss much about this trilogy because it really plays into what happens in six. And I can't really discuss six yet until we get five done. I've had the idea of five and six. The thing is, five and six, which were originally four and five before Choices was made. I mean, these have been in my head since 2012, at least for Redemption. Retribution was in my head since 2011, since the day we filmed The Lost Scene 2. I've known what was going to happen in Retribution. The main points. Obviously, it's evolved and changed because originally it was supposed to have Vin in it and stuff. But the original The Lost Scene 3, which had no subtitle, just The Lost Scene 3, uh, that was pretty much Retribution's story. Obviously, there's been some tweaks. Main thing is Deakins has taken the place of Vin, which finally helped because there was a time where I didn't have without Vin, I was trying to introduce a new hero into the story, which was weird because like, who was this guy in here? But then when I made my choices student project, I was like, hey, I can introduce a new character. I can use this character, and I think I'm just going to throw a spin-off film into there until finally I decided to make it four because originally Choices was just going to be Choices Lost Scene spinoff. But then I was like, Choices fits in with the mold of the Lost Scene movies good enough. I want to just stick with it. And it feels I'm totally fine with the Lost Scene title. Maybe you could call the series as a whole the Hero Saga. That's that's a possibility. That's a possibility. Uh Yeah, because a lot of the films within the LCU are a lot of them are named after the characters. Lost Scene's one of the few exceptions. Because you got Clank, you got the Clank series starring Clank. I mean, yeah, they're starting to spread out now more into other films, uh, and spin-offs and stuff like that. But for primarily it's been about Clank. Jack Stone. Now they've started to break out to the point where I've actually had to write on the timeline the Foxway universe because they're starting to really have a lot more characters that are popping up in this universe. It's no longer just a Jack Stone series. So I've really had to expand them out. But Phil Creek, it's just Phil Creek. I mean, yeah, I was gonna make my Agent 42 spinoff, but in the end that didn't happen. That would have been the only spinoffs they had. Blunt Dignity is one of the few exceptions. It doesn't use it. And I Private, I mean, kind of, it's a play on Ian Private's name. And then you got Clank, Jack Stone, Thomas Lund, uh, Evin. So you've had quite a few of the series that have just been the Philip Krieg. So you've had quite a few that have used the character's name as part of the series. So Lost Scene's been one of those that hasn't. It's not called Edward Niven. I mean, I'll make the joke, I mean, isn't that what always the last films are supposed to be called? You're supposed to use the character's name. Like you got Born Identity, Born Supremacy, Born Ultimatum, Born Legacy, and then Jason Bourne. So it should be like the Lost Scene 6, and then finally just Edward Niven. Just call it his name. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm never gonna do that with the series. Um, agree with the few films. The Lost Scene is so iconic, and sticking with that would be great. Okay, that's good to know. It's good to know what everyone else is thinking on this. Because I personally never really thought much of it. I think, yeah, I sometimes have wondered, I wonder what these films would be called. And I think if I was to do, like, write short stories or go back and make a full movie of these and then, remake, I'd have to refilm a lot of the scenes, but they'd still play out the same. London Cinematic Universe is definitely the saga name. The entries connect so much into that larger narrative, especially in the last few years. Yeah, I think we're starting to need to come up with full on names for each company rather than just the heroes' names. Find names so we can have our universe because our universes are starting to expand to the point of there's a lot more characters and we've got the precursors. We divide up the LCU within categories of hero films, legend films, and the precursors. Yeah, there's been a lot of debate back and forth of where we got it. We've now organized it to where there's the legends, the heroes, and the precursors. So, I mean, we haven't seen much of the precursors, but I have a plan for a film, if I can make it, called For the Uniform, which is a lot of the precursors are in it. I mean, I went, George Whitebrook, and there's Glenn Harvey, and a lot of those. Storm Brandt shows up. A lot of those kind of characters show up in the film, which really plays as kind of a prequel to the Legends because it sets up a lot of story. Yeah, precursors will have a lot to do in the future. I feel like a lot of us are now that we're done with a lot of these characters, we're kind of going back, and now we're starting to explore these other characters. Enemy Range. I don't know what the story was going to be of that, but I do remember it being a prequel, and it probably would have been considered a precursor film if it had been made. It would have been the first precursor film, but it got canceled, so the Range universe got um, ended before it could begin. The Vin universe, I think that would have been ended up being called the Assassins because it was all about a bunch of assassins. There was Vin, there was Lee, there's gonna be a bunch more. So I think that would have ended up becoming the subcategory of the Assassins. It's a shame that a lot of these universes didn't take off more. I mean, some of them I understand, like Blunt Dignity. It went where it went. I would have loved a third season of I Private, stuff like that. But it's just a lot of organizing and figuring out things. That's been a lot of what we've been doing, especially just to give people watching this, if you're rewatching this video, if you're watching it live, a lot of discussion within the LCU, just trying to organize it. We have really put together a web of stuff. It's crazy, when you think about it, how much stuff now connects with each other. Like, I mean, it's not 100% official. I mean, if it gets mentioned in the Lost Scene 5, maybe it'll become official. But I've been playing it now as in the Lost Scene, the first movie. Why Edward Niven is in Russia? Because it was like, okay, why would he be in Russia? Because it's not the Soviet Union. Because obviously the Lost Scene and the Lost Scene 2 have been retconned to no longer be 80s. That is an official retcon. There's been a few retcons within the LCU. That's one of them. Also, the war. I mean, in both Blunt Dignity and the Lost Scene series, the war originally was supposed to be Vietnam. Now it's been adjusted to the war in Iraq. So there's been some retcons. But one of my things with the Lost Scene is why would he be in Russia? And I was like, well, he's probably been assigned to track down the Russian espionage group and Joseph Johovsky Jr. So I kind of had that mentally in my head of what he's doing, which ties Edward Niven into the story of Philip Krieg. Also, when Eric Thompson died, that's why in Blood Dignity 2, in the deleted scene, Glenn Harvey is trying to recruit William Tyler. He's doing this as a personal favor for Grayson because Grayson wants Tyler to be Thompson's replacement since Thompson's supposed to have died. So there's a lot of this whole everything kind of weaves together in and out, and I love it. And so I was just trying to figure out this name stuff, but if I mentioned that while we were at it. Um, yeah, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna keep this live stream going. Yeah, Lost Scene 5. There. We are like this close to filming. We have most of the cast. There's a couple of roles we haven't gotten. I need to get them taken care of as quick as possible, but we should have a few old faces coming back. It's gonna be cool. Including one, unless something could change it, I'm gonna go ahead and announce it. James Oxford. James Oxford's coming back. We have not had James Oxford in a film since Reflection of the Soul. It's Q, 2013. So it's great. We're gonna have him back. He's a small role, but it also feels right because he was in Lost Scene 1, 2, and 3. He wasn't in 4, but it's gonna be great to have him in 5 and have him back. That's a great one. Mark Bollinger. He's been in a couple of my films. Most notable role he's had was in The Survivor, War's End. He was the first guy who went down. And yeah, so I'm pumped because I really think if we can get it filmed, I think it's like 4 days of shooting. I think we'd need if we can get these days of shooting done. If we can get all this stuff done, I can get it all edited and probably get the visual effects done with the help of a few people. And we could have a December release right around the time. If I can also get the script done within this month, we could maybe even get the Legends finished too. So we could literally have The Lost Scene 5 come out, and then like a week later, the Legends come out right at the end of the year and just end 2020 with a bang with the LCU because that's like a 1-2 punch right there. Because The Lost Scene 5 really does play into leading into the Legends. So that's always been one of my hesitations with not getting the Legends out. I mean, I've been the main one writing the script. Is I feel like you really need that final piece to go into the Legends. I mean, not fully, but I feel like you'll appreciate it more because there are definitely some elements from the Lost Scene 5. Don't worry, there's gonna be plenty of LCU references within 5. There's a bunch. I mean, the Lost Scene has been the series I feel like is now really leaning into those references. With the only exception is that Stone and Clank have done more crossover films. I wish I could do some crossover films. Oh my gosh, that'd be so awesome. But I live so far away. But yeah, there's a lot of little references. There's little things here and there. I mean, 4 was chock full of little references here and there. Because also, speaking back on connections, Lost in 2, In the Lost Scene 1, I said there was a Russian espionage group in Joseph Zahorsky. That's that. In Lost Scene 2, it's Basilisk. Kane is a Basilisk operative. So he works for like Hera and them from that movie. That's where that organization first gets introduced. And Basilisk pretty much rose up after the Black Falcons were taken out, which was in 3. So there's a lot of connections. It's hard to follow because the movies obviously aren't complete. There's a lot of things that you miss. There's a lot in 1 that I wish I could now show, but and 2. 2, I mean, you don't know in 2 he's supposed to. In my head when I was making that film, I was like, okay, he's already lost someone that was helping him. I always imagined it being like a girl that was helping him, a female agent. Really basing that on in Rambo: First Blood Part 2 has the girl helping him. I imagine it being a lot like that, but we're only seeing the end of the film. He's 9 days in. I mean, we missed the first 9 days. Also, if I was to make that remake too and make it a full movie, the opening would be his botched mission in Tehran. We'd see his whole operation, them running. The opening of the movie would be them running and saying, "How did they find us? What's going on?" And they're just trying to escape, and slowly they're all getting killed off. And then the only one that gets extracted is Niven, and that's why he gets arrested because they say he blew the op and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things. It's in my head. It's like I wish I could have expanded some of these ideas if I'd known what about the legends and what this was all going to become. Believe me, the Lost Scene series would have been handled slightly differently. Not in I would have totally changed the stories. I think I just would have expanded them, made it a little longer, especially 2. Lost Scene 2. It's the weakest film, but it has so much importance to the story, and it's kind of a weird relationship I have with that film because I'm like, this is so important, but it's not that good a film. I mean, it really was filmed 1 day, and we just took out the camera and tried to recreate what we did with 1, but very different, and I don't think it came out as well. 4 likes on this. I like that. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Um, I think that's pretty much all to really discuss. I mean, I could talk about the Lost Scene series and all the things that are in my head that haven't been shown, but there's a lot of things, especially in 4. Pause, read those documents like in the intro sequence and stuff, and see what you can read. There's a lot of little Easter eggs hidden throughout a lot of that stuff. I've tried to really expand the universe within that film, especially that film. Um, and of course, bringing in chess, making it a spin-off film was, I thought, an interesting idea, just to give little Deacons a little more. And there'll be more mentioning of that. There's going to be, oh, wait until you see the title sequence of 5. 5 is full of, it's just, it, and one after another, so I was like, whoa, whoa. It's just like all these references and flashbacks and all kinds of stuff. If I can make it the way I want to, 5's title sequence is going to be, oh, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be, you guys are going to be like, whoa, when you see it. It's going, whoa, this is all connecting. Yeah. It gives a little more context to some of the other films too, which I think helps. Um, but enough on that. Let me check the polls real quick before I wrap it up here. Let's see what they're saying, what people are saying. Just 3 votes on the Lost Scene. Since the Lost Scene films are no longer just Lost Scenes, do you think their titles should be changed? 3 votes, 100% no. Okay. 3 votes on what the names should be. 1 vote for A Matter of Honor, and 2 votes for Call to Action. Cool. All right. I think unless something changes with the polls, I don't think I'm going to change the titles. I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I might have something in the back of my mind like, oh, what would this be called? And so if I wrote stories of these characters, wrote actual like little novels, little novellas, short stories to explain the full stories. I might give them the title. I might give them a title, and it might be something like Call to Action or something like that. But honestly, I think I'm just gonna leave it as a scene. And if it expands, eventually it might become the Hero Saga or something like that. But that'll be for the future. Mostly it's just now getting on the Lost Scene 5, getting it filmed, getting it done. Out of all the films, I want to make, and I want to make a lot of films, and I'm trying to make sure I have enough time to make them. Um, like Indiana Jones, my wife's starting to work on the art direction for that. I need to really start working on the script for that. Death is Forever. Need to get the script for that and get that on the works. Rough Justice has been kind of bouncing around all over the place. I'm not sure where we're standing on that right now. I really would like to make that one too. A Final Cut's been all over the place. I need to completely rewrite that. For the uniform is still an idea floating around. There's several ideas. Um, the Survivor, of course, is done. It's like the one franchise thing I've done that's like done is the Survivor. Actually, trivia note, kind of a downer note. I was rewatching the Survivor. I was rewatching War's End, and I really came to the conclusion that everyone the Missouri Citizens Resistance died. They all ended up actually dying, except for Sam. I know it's a sad idea, and that he's gonna end up searching and never find them, but I felt it kind of fit with the title, The Survivor, singular, and literally ends up being every person he met ended up dying, and he ended up being the sole survivor. I know it's a downer note, but it was something I was kind of concluding by watching. I was like, I feel like this is what the film's kind of suggesting. So they ended up all dying. He's the only one that's managed to slip out during that ambush. But you never know. But as I was saying, I can't wait to make more of these. So I don't think I'll end up changing these covers. I think they will remain the last scene. Last scene too. So, and I'll make the rest of them, and I'll be posting these up on the Facebook page, and probably do some stuff more on the website. I know I haven't really done as much on the website as I'm supposed to, but I hope to be doing some more with that soon. And yeah, really excited. Uh, and yes, I'm excited to the Indiana Jones film, especially to see how you make it fit between Raiders and Crusade. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of time in between Raiders and Crusade. Imagine an LCU box was that one day. Yes, that would be awesome. All the films on DVD, just watch them all. I mean, the playlist is good. I have access to every film. I mean, I feel I wish I could get a hold of the other films I haven't been able to get a hold of because I saved a few. The ones that are not on YouTube, I saved one of them. So I have access to one of them that's no longer on YouTube. And I feel like I could probably get a hold of the other two because I have contact with the other two people, and I could just get a hold of them. I'd love to put them somewhere unlisted. If they don't want them to be public, I wish I could just post them somewhere unlisted so only LCU diehards could watch them. Because then at least they get that context of those characters and stuff. Because we have 3 films missing. But it'd be great to be able to just watch the entire LCU in like release order or chronological order and just watch how it unfolds. But getting back to Anthony Fields' comment, really excited to see the Indiana Jones film, especially how it makes fit between Raiders and Crusade. Yeah, there's even. It's even planned. Can't elaborate much. There is even a reference to stuff that was referenced in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I know. A lot of people don't like that film, but I'm still gonna make it in there. It's still a reference. When Indy goes on this mission, we do encounter Marion is there at the beginning of the movie, and they're about to get married. They're a week away from their marriage, from their wedding day, and this is when Indy's going to go off and do this trek. And that's what's described in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, is that a week before they got married, he went off and didn't come back. And this is part of that. And by the time he came back, she was gone. This kind of plays a little bit into that. But I'm also going to explain a little bit maybe why he didn't come back and why he decided to break off his relationship with her. And yeah, I'm even considering, I don't know. This has been an idea that's been floating in my head. I'm willing to go ahead and talk about it here real quick. I've even considered maybe the end, he gets a clue for the cross of Coronado. And, so it kind of plays into the beginning of Crusade. I mean, the beginning of the modern part of Crusade, where he's on the ship and stuff. I've considered where there's a reference to that, so he picks up that trail at the end of the movie. I've considered it. These are just ideas. Oh, like I've said, the script is not set in stone, but there's some ideas of a few connections here and there. Um, because yeah, it's just putting it between Raiders and Crusade. I mean, it's not really like. And I've even considered throwing a reference into like just a reference of Sophia Hapgood from Fate of Atlantis and um, Infernal Machine. Thought about throwing a reference into her. Uh, Rachel Mooney would make a great marrying candidate for your indie movie. Yeah, but honestly, I'll be honest. I'm trying to talk my wife into doing the role because we could actually be sweet to each other on camera and not feel weird doing it. I'd rather have Rachel Mooney in a different role that I've considered for this movie. So yeah, I will say Indy doesn't really have much of a romance interest in this because he's currently with Marion when he left. So there really is not going to be much of a romance plot in this one, but I found a way to make this work. Don't worry, there's gonna be good reasons and explanations and stuff like that for it. Not bad idea. David actually called it. Yes, I really want my wife to. She's not much of an actress, and she doesn't always like appearing in front of the camera. So convincing her will take some doing. But I think for one scene, one small scene, I think I can do it. We will see. Is there anything else? Since I think we're pretty much done with the debate here and the talk, is there anything else you guys want to discuss briefly? I'm willing to stay on for at least 20 minutes at most, or I might just try to wrap this up soon. If there's anything you guys want to talk about or ask me, go ahead and type it in the comments there, and I will um, gladly discuss it right now. Yeah, we're getting 5 votes now on no, so the lost scene. The hero has got a vote now, but still called to action still leads that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I think the lost scene names I don't think will change. But if you guys have anything, I'm willing to discuss it. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of bouncing around. But Lost Scene 5 is 100% priority. Nothing else gets filmed until that film gets done. Because I am tired of waiting. You guys have waited 8 years. 8 years for this film. I'm really hoping it pays off. I really hope it pays off considering how long the wait's been. Honestly, the wait, though, has helped because of all the LCU connections and stuff. I think the LCU benefits the film and makes the film a little bit stronger. There were certain elements of stories that I was struggling with, and then I was like, oh, wait, but if I use this element for the LCU, we'll be good. Maybe while on Indy's on his mission, you can look at a picture of Mary, and you can see a picture of your wife. I've considered that as well. If I don't end up having a scene of her, I've considered doing that. I have considered that. That is an option. That is definitely an option. I really want to. I mean, I have ideas of characters, and I know the general gist of the story. I don't want to make it too long. 45 minutes to an hour, maybe. I don't really want to do long films right now because I want to get these films out. The only film I'm willing to do that's long is Death is Forever. I do want to make that one a bit of a longer one, but a lot of these other ones I want to try to go over an hour on them. I really want to just make these films and make them short and sweet like I used to. The longer films just drain so much and take up so much time. Plus, I think a lot of them were too long. I mean, I could trim a lot of things down in my older films, and I think it would be better. Um, but one thing I definitely want, I want Micah to play the big tough German. Micah looks the part. I mean, he looks like the big tough German, like boss. You got to fight. I want him in that role. I don't think he'll be the main villain, but I think he'll be the secondary villain. Kind of like you got Donovan as the main villain, you got Vogel, and you got like Dietrich in the one, but you got Belloc is the main. So I want him to be kind of the main henchman, the secondary villain. Micah would be perfect in that role. Same with Micah being perfect for being the henchman in Death is Forever. mean, he's got that look. He's got the Bond henchman look. The guy's huge. He's great in martial law. He's been great as Deakins. I want that a lot. I really want my kid to do more films with us, and that sort of thing. I mean, he's been doing great right now, but those are two roles that I really want him to do because I think he'd be great in them. Uh, yeah, but so my plan is right now, The Lost Scene 5, then really start pushing work on Indy. Maybe the final cut might be filmed in there somewhere. Maybe. Reminds me of Dave Bautista. Yeah, kind of. A little bit. A little bit. Nice one there, Jacob. I really want to, yeah, do The Lost Scene 5, get it filmed, get all that done this year, get the Legends done, get those two projects out of the way. They're done. End of 2020, done. Going into the very beginning of 2021, get Indy and maybe the final cut at the same time. If the final cut's not too complicated, we might be able to pull off. Problem with the final cut is a lot of it takes place on a campus, and with COVID and all that stuff happening, yeah, it's been a little bit. Plus, I need to completely rewrite it because my head was not in the right space when I made the original one. I had a few people look at it and were like, this is not like the Computer Network or the Real Business. I actually made George a real jerk in that one. Actually, all the characters were real jerks, but I was going through a bad time. At that point, that was in 2018. Yeah, so there was a lot of rough stuff in the early 2018 for me. So I gotta write it from scratch if I want to. But honestly, it's also been one I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool, but at the same time, does there need to be a follow up? I wouldn't mind doing a follow up, but so we'll see about that. After I get Indy done, I think the Lost Scene 6 would probably be next. I think I would go ahead and do the Lost Scene 6. Might do it at the same time as Indy. It depends on how difficult Indy's going. Or if Indy goes fast, I might do 6. I might do 6 right before Indiana Jones if Indiana Jones is taking a while. But we'll see. We will see with that, with the order. All I know is 5, Lost Scene 5, Legends, end of 2020. And then into 2021, the primary ones are Indy, Lost Scene 6, and Death is Forever. Those are the main ones going in 2021. Secondaries are the Final Cut, Rough Justice, and For the Uniform. Those are my just don't let Netflix get a hold of the LCQ. Yeah, that would be interesting. I think the LCU is just a cool idea, honestly. I mean, it's like, what if all these spies just exist in the same universe? I'm not saying, oh, they gotta always meet up. No, just there's a little bit of crossover because they're both dealing with the same kind of organizations, and there's a little bit here. Yeah, they meet up, they run into each other a few times, they get a hold of each other a few times. Well, not too much. Um, yeah, I just think it's a cool idea. I like it. But yeah, those are so I've got my 3 primaries and my 3 secondaries going into next year. I'm not trying to come up with any more ideas or projects because if I start coming up too much, I'm gonna be too stretched. So I'm just focusing on the goal. The Lost Scene 5, just gotta get it done. I've got some secondary ideas if one of my characters doesn't work out in um 5 of what I can do to make it easier on myself. It really changes things because this is a character that does play into the Lost Scene 6, but that's a different matter. So any final questions, comments, anything? Or I'll be signing off here in the next minute or two. I'm glad we were able to have the discussion about the Lost Scene title thing because I've been wondering about that. So thank you guys for helping. That's appreciated. I think think we're good here. Yeah. If there's no more final comments or anything, I think I'll go ahead and wrap things up. Yep. Look forward to probably posting up. I'll probably be posting up some production photos and stuff on the Facebook page and the website. So look forward to doing that. And yeah, guess just getting ready. Yeah, week or two. Get truly filming. Might film some of the easier, shorter scenes first. Getting locations is a little tricky right now, but we should be fine. I've got some ideas, so we'll see where we go from there. And yeah, so thank you all for joining us. Well, joining me. It's just me this time. Brandy's not here right now, so yeah, thank you all for discussing, for figuring out what to do with the lost scene. Yeah, and I will see you all soon. And take care, everyone. And you all have a great rest of your day. And we will talk to you all again very soon. See y'all.